I'm live with Anna Murphy from Cellar Darling. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing perfectly fine. I'm at my studio. As you can see, it's still in the works. I'm remaking all the walls and stuff like that, so that's why it looks a bit like a building site in here.
Yeah, it looks like there's some unfinished drywall behind you.
Yes, yeah.
So the first question I have to ask you is hurdy-gurdy. Okay, I'm absolutely in love with the hurdy-gurdy, thanks to you. And the question I have for you is, how did you discover the instrument, and how did you decide that was something you wanted to learn?
I've always liked weird, unusual things. And I came across the hurdy-gurdy when I was a teenager. I was about 15, 16, and I saw a medieval folk band who were using it, and they're called Faun. I don't know if you know them. They're a German, like, medieval folk band, but they merge traditional music with also electronic elements. So it's a pretty special band, and I completely fell in love with the hurdy-gurdy, with the sound, with the looks, with everything, basically. So I just immediately knew I wanted to play it. So first I rented an instrument at it's an academy for old music. And then I basically taught it myself.
Wow.
After. Had a few lessons with this teacher who plays very traditionally. And then I joined my previous band, Helveti, right away. And that's basically how I learned how to play it, is by learning their songs.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm going to tell you a short story. My son is 13. He's going into high school next year. He's learning how to play the guitar. So we went to enroll in high school, and he chose music as one of his optional classes. I asked them if they taught hurdy-gurdy. They looked at me like I was a complete idiot. But so I don't think that we have the possibility of learning an instrument like that here. It's just, and it to me is such a cool sounding instrument, and I really like the way you incorporate it into your music.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't play it in a very traditional way. I know how to do it. I know some old pieces, also medieval music, but I've always been interested in creating new things and creating new styles. So that's why I use it in a very unusual way.
So you said that as you were learning, you joined your former band, but now you're with Cellar Darling. So what was the thought process behind creating Cellar Darling? The whole process behind it. Well, what was going through your mind?
Well, I think the good thing about our band is that there was not much thinking involved. We are all people who are led by our instincts, by our gut feeling. And that's how the band became what it is. You know, we didn't have a plan what to sound like. We didn't discuss who we want to be. We also didn't discuss what we don't want to sound like. You know, we're just three friends. We've been friends for over 10 years, and we got together at the rehearsal room and we just started writing music. It happened really organically. And yeah, that's the funny thing, you know, everything just kind of fell into place. We started realizing that we want to merge different kinds of music. We don't want to be a folk metal band. We don't want to be a rock band. We want to just be ourselves. And I think we've managed to do that somehow.
Yeah, I remember listening to your album. My son is actually the one that introduced me to you guys. He's the one that discovered you, and then he said, "Dad, you got to listen to these guys. It's so different." And I remember doing a reaction video on our channel and saying that when I listen to your music, I kind of just sit back and let the music take me places. And to me, that's the best way to define your music, is music that just allows your mind to just go into different places. Doesn't have boundaries. It's just, I think each listener gets something completely different from the music, because we all have our own experiences that we bring into when we're listening to your music. Did you feel that way?
Absolutely, yeah. That's it's great that you're saying that, because that's basically what we feel is our band. You can just relax and just kind of dream and let the music take you places. That's exactly what you said. That's what we believe is what we want to create and what we are creating.
Now, when you guys were working on This Is the Sound, like your first album, how does the process of putting an album together? Like, this album is really special to me. It was one of the big surprises of 2017. How did you guys work on it? Do you guys work on the instrument parts beforehand and then put the music afterwards? Is it a blend of both? How do you work on an album like that?
With us, there's different types of songs. There's different types of songwriting. We write together as a band. So even if I write a song at home or Ivo writes a song at home, we always come together in the rehearsal room and arrange it together. That's how it works. There's no mastermind who tells the others what to play. And I think, the more songs we make, people are going to notice that there's 3 different types of songs. There's the ones that come from me, there's the ones that Ivo writes, and there's the ones that actually they're created by us 3. Like, we just jam something and then we come up with a song from the start, actually, all of us together. And I really like this process, and I think that is probably also why we have so many different types of songs, where it's sometimes a bit difficult to assign a genre to them. So that's how we work. Yeah, sometimes also the lyrics usually come after the music, but they're always kind of there already. That sounds a bit weird, but I listen to the music, I have the melodies, and then they tell me what the song is about. So I don't have to, sit there and think, oh, what's this song going to be about? Because it's just there already. I just have to put it into words. Sometimes, for instance, the song 6 Days, I got that idea simultaneously, the lyrics and the music. It was all there at the same time. So that also tends to happen sometimes.
That song, I absolutely adore that song. And it's one of those that really transports me into different places as I'm listening to it. To me, it transcends you almost when you're listening to it. And one of the dynamic of the album that I like was that it was really hard when I first listened to the album. It was really hard to pin it to one genre, and that was due to the dynamic of all the different songs. So I think you guys did a really wonderful job with that.
Cool, thank you.
One question about the album was, with Nuclear Blast, did you guys already have the album in mind when you signed with Nuclear Blast, or did you guys sign and then start working on an album to put out in 2017?
We were already working on the album. We had, I think, 2 or 3 songs when we signed with Nuclear Blast. Yeah, so that was just like it was the most amazing coincidence, as you can imagine. I think they heard just 1 or 2 songs from us, and that made them want to sign us. So they really put a lot of faith in us as a band, because they basically just said, yeah, we want you guys, we want your album, but they didn't actually hear the album until it was fully recorded. And yeah, so they really have a lot of faith in us, which is really nice.
Now, did that add extra pressure to you guys going into the studio?
No, not at all.
Very comfortable. You guys were confident in your skills, so you knew you're not gonna disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the only things we can do. That sounds a bit stupid, but like the creating part, the creational process it's just there. There's no I don't want to say hard work, because it is hard work to record a song and to practice a song to get it right in the studio, but the ideas are just there. I can't force myself to have ideas or kind of train having ideas, because they're just kind of there.
No, I can see that. It's like, it's the one thing you guys can control is your art. So you're confident in it because that's the one of all the things going into the studio that probably is maybe perhaps a little bit out of your control. The way you create your music, that's the one thing you feel like you're in charge.
Yeah, definitely.
So now the impression that I got last year once the album came out is that you guys are a working band. I mean, you guys work hard because you guys put out an album, you start doing some tour dates, you start doing some festivals. You guys don't stop. Like, is that something you guys really enjoy? Like, you guys really want to bring your music to everybody and do festivals and hit the road and do some tours? Like, it seems to me like you guys just don't stop. Like, you're always doing something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that we want to do. I mean, I have a great job on the side too. I love being a sound engineer, and I just want to rotate between working in a studio and working with my band and being on stage. It's the only things we want to do. So naturally we put a lot of energy into that. And being a band nowadays is hard, or maybe it was always hard, probably. There's so much work involved. And the good thing about our band is that we are made up of very different people who all want to achieve the same goal. And the great thing about us being so different is that we can do different kinds of work. Like, I'm more of the creative type. I'm not very good with the business side of music. But for instance, Merlin, he's probably read every book about music management and music business there is. So he takes care of that. He does a lot of booking as well. And Ivo's kind of like the in-between guy. He's a very sensible person, a very intelligent person who can balance things very well. Like, he's kind of like the scale of the
like
band.
That keeps you guys together.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the weird person who sometimes just kind of is somewhere in space and not here. So yeah, it's very good that we have this trio that works so well.
Now, you guys are working on a new album. So can you tell us anything about this new album? Like, what can us, the fans, expect from this album? When can we expect the album to come out? Like, anything at all?
So far, I've written 2 songs. Ivo's written one, and we're working on other ideas too. So we actually already have a lot of material that we're working on together in the rehearsal room. What I can say so far is that the idea is to do a concept album, like a lyrical concept album, which I'm also working on. It's like a story. Yeah, and it's all really exciting and creative. And what I can say about the music, it's a bit hard to say now, but it's going to, if you've listened to This Is the Sound from beginning to end, you're probably going to notice that towards the end, we started experimenting a bit more progressive, and you can expect much more of that, because we kind of realized, okay, we really don't have boundaries and we can really just go crazy. And the stuff we've written so far is pretty different. Yeah.
That's exciting. I mean, for me, I'm looking forward to this album. Now, do you have a time? You guys are working on a timeline of when you want to put the album out, or you're kind of just, it's a work in progress, and when we feel like we're ready, that we achieved what we wanted, that's when we're going to release it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a date set yet, because we want to take our time. We want it to be, well, I don't like the word perfect, but we just want to feel that it's right. And we want to spend much more time in the studio this time than last time. So we actually also want the creative process to be a part of the studio process, you know, as opposed to, okay, we have to learn all our parts and then we have to record one thing after the other. It's a bit of a rushed process, and we want to, what our ideal outcome would be is to just spend a lot of time in the studio, maybe also jam things and write stuff in the studio, which is a good coincidence because I have a studio. So we're still planning those things, you know, but we want to have a different approach than with the last album, with the recording process.
To me, it sounds like you want it to be more organic and less methodical.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
If I can pick at one thing, the idea of the concept, I really like that. So I just want to ask you one thing. Will the concept of the album be a story that you're retelling, or is like a story that you created?
It's a story that we are creating. It's based on an idea that I've had for a long time, but I've never done something like that. I've never written a story. So I want to take my time. I want to work on writing something. And the thing about our band is we don't want to retell old stories. We want to invent new ones. And this is going to take us even one step further if we do this concept album.
So maybe in the future, could I see Anna Murphy releasing a book? Is that something you would be interested in?
Yeah, definitely. The thing is that I love creating stories, but I think it's really hard to put them in words. That's why I love writing music and lyrics for music, because there's so much you can interpret and keep open. And if you want to write a book, you have to be really good at writing a book. So it's something that I don't know if I'm good at it or good enough at it. I just know that I have the ideas, but if those are just enough, I'm not sure. But it would definitely be interesting.
I think based on the lyrics even of the previous album, I think there's some skills there. You can always hire a ghostwriter to help you out, but I see you as a very artistic person and a person without boundaries when it comes to their own art. So the way you're describing this new album, I can really see other things like that in the future for you, because I get that vibe.
That's cool.
I wanted to ask you about the touring, because you guys already announced some tour dates for the UK and also for Japan. So are you guys excited about those?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, we didn't know how this was going to develop. It's always hard, you know, starting a new band. You don't know what's gonna happen. Are we gonna have gigs? Are people gonna throw things at us? Are they gonna like us? No idea, you know, which is also makes it exciting. But it's been going so incredibly well, and the fact that we can already play, you know, in Japan, which is, you know, it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy to get shows there, you know. That's just really amazing, and we're very excited and very grateful to all the fans who made this possible.
Yeah, I saw those announcements, and I was really happy for you guys. But it left me wondering, when are you guys coming to North America, specifically Toronto? I'm in Canada. I'm in Toronto. I would love to see you guys live. I think it would be a wonderful experience. Anything in the plans? Are you guys hoping to come to North America in 2018?
We are working on it. As you know, we're playing at Prog Power USA. So we would love to kind of build a tour around that. The thing is, you know, there's always, you know, we always get messages also from fans who are really disappointed if we don't stop somewhere, which I can absolutely understand. But the thing is, you know, a band doesn't just decide, oh, we're going to play there. That's going to be great. You know, you have to get an invitation. You have to get promoters to believe in you and that you're not going to be a shitty band who doesn't sell tickets, you know. So there's so much stuff involved that and stuff that's not in our control. So the only thing we are doing is reaching out to promoters, reaching out to booking, working with our booking agency. And we're working on that really hard because we absolutely love touring in North America and in South America and Central, everywhere, in Canada too. We've done so many tours there with our previous band that we already know how it is, and we know that we love it. So I really hope it's going to work out, but we're working on it.
Would you guys be open to either be like part of a bill, like an opening band to another band, or you're looking more at being the headlining band in that kind of situation?
I think with us at the moment, there's two sensible things. There's being a support band, which I actually really like. I enjoy being a support band, which is what we've done so far. And if we would do our own tour, it would just have to be a small one, really small clubs, kind of comfy personal shows. I can imagine doing that as well. But so far, the support thing has really worked out well. We went on tours with Delane and with Lacuna Coil, and those were really, really amazing tours.
I think last year you guys also toured with a Canadian band, the Agonist.
Yeah, that's right. We did well. I don't know if you can call it a tour. It was three shows in Russia, and that was amazing. We already knew the Agonist touring with Helveti, and they're really great people, amazing people who also they gave us a lot of confidence because we were a bit, insecure about the whole. How is the metal audience going to react to us and all that stuff. And they came to us after the first show and said how much they're enjoying the music and they think it's really creative. So that gave us kind of like a confidence boost. And I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I got to see them last year. They're from Montreal. And if I remember correctly, I mean, I could be completely out to lunch here, but if I remember correctly, you guys were in Montreal last year, weren't you?
Last year, I don't think so.
Maybe the year before. I thought I saw a tweet from you guys about being in Montreal. Maybe I'm wrong.
With Helveti, I think the last time maybe was 2 years ago or something.
Okay, so that's what I'm recollecting. Never mind then. I'm having one of those mental issues. So touring. Does the touring affect the way you guys work on your music now that you're working on an album, or it doesn't really? Like you when you guys are together off the tour, you work on it. When you guys have a tour, you just go on it and you kind of put it on the back burner.
I've always been of the opinion that I can't write music on tour, which isn't necessarily true though. Actually on the Lacuna Coil tour, I just made a rough demo of one song, and usually I just get ideas, melodies and things, and then I record them on my phone, and then when I'm back at home I can work on them. But so I think we're a band that actually gets a lot of work done on tour, and we also we always sit together, we brainstorm about what we could do. So yeah, we are a working band on tour, definitely.
No, it's to me, I just find the dynamic. Like I said, you guys are a working band. Like every time I see a tweet from you guys or I see an Instagram post, either you're working on something in the studio or you're attending a festival or you're touring. It just seems like you guys are really passionate about it. So you don't see it as work. You just see it as part of your everyday life.
Yeah. It's like a symbiosis, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that's the impression as a fan at home watching you guys from afar. That's what I get, and it's cool because you're not and the other cool thing about that is that you guys are very accessible through social media. Is that something that you always wanted to be, like to be be able to be approached by the fans, to be able to communicate with the fans? That's something that's important for all of you guys.
I've always had mixed feelings about social media, to be honest, because on one hand, I think it takes a lot. It sounds really weird, but it takes a lot of, the mystery away from the music and from the band. I've always enjoyed, also as a fan of music and certain things, I've enjoyed just not knowing certain things, and listening to the albums and reading the booklets and creating my own story for myself and my own ideas. And social media has so many great things. I love answering messages of fans. I love showing people that I really, I'm so grateful for their support. Those are the positive things. And also being able to give the people the face behind the music, because a lot of people really like getting to know the musicians and knowing more things there are to know. And I think you kind of have to balance it. And I'm not sure, I'm not yet sure how the perfect balance looks. But yeah, like I told you before, I think there also should be some mystery, and not too much posting everything and with 30 hashtags and 5 links each, that kind of thing. I think it's important to find a balance. Yeah, I'm not sure how we're doing on that, but
I think you guys are doing wonderful. And I have a question from one of our viewers that's watching this live stream right now, and he wants to know, what do you prefer? Small venues, clubs, festival, big venues? What is your preference in terms for your music? What do you feel like your music gets exposed the best?
I think every band member would have a different answer to that question. My personal favorite has always been small clubs, personal clubs where you can see the audience, you can look into people's eyes, and I've always preferred that to big stages, big festivals. Although big shows are also great. It's an amazing and also very scary feeling to just have thousands of people in front of you. I just think for me as a person, as a human being, small clubs just fit better with my personality.
This whole thing brings me back to what you were saying earlier in terms of your songwriting and the concept album. I want to ask you something. You guys were selling on your site these drum skins that were painted, and then you guys signed them. Mm-hmm. Is that something that we could see, perhaps you or the band painting what's going to become an album cover in the future? Because they were actually beautiful. They were amazing. I was blown away. Like I was like sending messages to my friends saying, "Hey, look at these. They're so cool. My birthday is coming up. Kind of give them hints. Maybe they would buy me one." So could that be something that we would see in the future? You guys actually painting what would become one of your album covers?
I've actually done that before. I released a solo album in 2013, and the artwork was my paintings, basically, just photographs of my paintings. I'm not sure. I really love painting, and I like working with colors, but I don't think I like having better artists do our artwork. So I'm not sure if we're going to do that.
I think you're downplaying your own skills, because I saw those and they were incredible. And I don't think I'm the only one who feels that way, because everybody that I was reading the comments, everybody was going crazy over those.
Yeah, that's nice.
I have a couple more questions to ask you about your music. We talked about the way you create the songs, the way you develop the songs. Now, what is the influence to you? As a musician growing up, you listen to music. What were the bands that influenced you as a teenager, and even now as a musician? What are the bands that really speak to you and influence you in your music?
Yeah, that's always a really hard question to answer, because I listen to so much different stuff. It's sometimes ridiculous. Like I can switch from the sickest black metal to the poppiest pop music. And for me, there's no difference. That's the weird thing. For me, music is music, and everything, it just has to tell a story. It has to warm my heart or make me feel shit. You know, there's always different things you want. You know, everybody knows the feeling when you're depressed, and then you listen to a depressive music to make you even more depressed, and which is completely weird, but we do it, you know. And then there's music that we need to get some energy. There's music, there's so much different types of vibes that we're looking for. And for me, I can find this in anything. Maybe not German Schlager music and maybe not reggae, but I can find something I like in everything. I grew up with classical music. I grew up in the opera. I like folk. I like so many things. I think when I was a teenager, I actually mainly listened to black metal. I had a very evil phase, and I still enjoy the music, but now basically I just listen to everything. And I think it's weird that the music I create is actually very different from the music that I listen to. I think if I would write songs based on what I listen to privately, I would have like an avant-garde, sludge, black, doom, whatever band. But I don't. Like, I actually write mainly accessible music. So I've always just thought, you know, the music you write, it has to come from your heart. It has to come from your gut. I think the wrong way to write music is, I want to write this type of music. That's way too methodical. That doesn't suit my idea of songwriting.
Yeah, that doesn't really allow you to be organic in your
exactly
with your art. Now, one last question I want to ask you, because we're talking about music and what influences you. I really wondered this. You know, being in a band and traveling and meeting other bands, have you ever been starstruck by anybody on another band that you maybe listen to them and you really have them in high praises? It's a band that you really look up to, and then finally you meet them at a festival or during a tour, and you're just like a fan, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to say, you know? Like, is that ever happened to you?
I think, yeah, I mean, especially in the beginning, you know, when I joined Helveti, my previous band, I was 16. So you can imagine that it was all a bit surreal that I'm suddenly in a touring band. And yeah, there were a few bands along the way that I really enjoyed, you know, seeing live and meeting. There was this one time where we played at, what was it called? I think Metal Camp in Slovenia. And I was still pretty young there. And Mary, who's still a good friend of mine, she's also a former member of Helveti. We were walking around together and we saw the guys from Carcass. And we were both huge fans of the band. And the guys, you know, they were just sitting there like all cool. And I don't know if they were smoking weed or something. And they just looked at us and they're like, hey, cool band or something like that. I don't know if they saw the show and we're like, oh my God. Yeah, so those things have happened a couple of times, but not very much recently. I think, I know it's not because I'm arrogant or anything, but you know, you just know, I mean, a lot of people think that I'm somehow special, you know, fans but I know that it's not true because, you know, we're just all humans and we do stupid shit, and it doesn't change if you're a musician or if you bake bread or if you work at a bank. You know, you just do things, and you know, that's why I might have calmed down a bit and I just see people as people. Yeah.
You've calmed down from your black metal days.
Yeah.
I was going to say that this was going to be my last question, but I have two questions from the folks watching at home. So I'm just going to ask you those two questions, and then I promise I'll let you go because I know you're in the studio and I don't want to take any more of your time. I feel so grateful that you're already giving me this time. I really don't want to take too much of your time. So one of the questions that one of our viewers asked is, do you have a favorite metal singer right now? Somebody that really speaks to you?
That's a hard one. There are, I mean, there's a lot of singers that I absolutely adore. There's actually two singers that I think are great who have actually worked together, which is Devin Townsend and Anneke van Giersbergen. I've toured with her as well. So for me, she's just like the whole package. She's an amazing human being. She's an amazing singer. Devin Townsend, I love him as just a musician. I mean, the music he writes is amazing, and that the guy can play guitar and sing like that as well. That's actually annoyingly cool. And we went on tour with Lacuna Coil recently, and I was amazed by Christina's voice, that she has so much power in her voice and she can just pull that off every single day. That's amazing. I've met so many good singers on the way. I don't really think I could pick one. I've always been a huge fan of, like, not the technical singers, you know, who do everything so perfectly and well. I've always enjoyed more like people with expression and feeling. I think that's much more important than technique. And then, of course, there's singers who can do both. One of my main influences when singing is Björk. She's not a metal singer, and there's actually also Asgeir Hatlen from the band Manes that I've also mixed recently, who I think is really great. So yeah, there's a few.
One last question. I'm Portuguese. I live in Canada. I live in Toronto, but I was born in Portugal. You toured in Portugal. I saw some pictures of you drinking some Porto wine.
Yeah.
I'm sure you enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, not the next day, but in the moment it was great.
It's our big export, Porto wine. Like, I'm a big fan. I've done the tour of where they make the wine. I saw some pictures. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check that out. But there's one of our viewers is asking about the concert in Lisbon. Apparently, someone gave you guys a flag or something like that, and he wants to know if you guys kept that flag, that Portuguese flag.
Yeah, of course we did. I think it's at our rehearsal room, I hope.
That's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. All right. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. This was wonderful.
No problem. Yeah, thank you for the interview.
And I look forward to the new album and hopefully seeing you guys in 2018.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.